for New York.
Welcome to this week's edition of New York Now. I'm Daryl Camp in for Dan Clark. The New York State on Pause executive order was first signed by Governor Andrew Cuomo in March of 2020. That order shut down so-called non-essential businesses and imposed other restrictions on day-to-day life in New York with the hope of controlling the spread of the coronavirus. Restrictions have incrementally eased over time, but on Tuesday of this week, the governor seemed to claim victory over COVID-19 due to the vaccination rate and eased most of those restrictions. Here to talk about that is Karen DeWitt from New York State Public Radio. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
So, the question on everyone's mind from the left and the right is, what type of facts are those?
Oh, what types of facts? You're right. 70% of New Yorkers over the age of 18 have received the first dose of a vaccination, at least their first dose. That is substantially different from 70% fully vaccinated and reaching the so-called herd immunity. Actually, only 50% of New Yorkers are fully vaccinated when you count children under 12 who aren't yet eligible to get the vaccine. So it was kind of an arbitrary number. You got to think the timing worked for Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's under all these scandals, investigations, from sexual harassment. You're looking at me like, really?
And maybe a fifth one.
Is there something connected with that?
Yeah,
right.
We'll get to that later. There might be a fifth investigation now. Who knows?
So it was a good time for him to declare essentially victory. We conquered COVID. It's over. We can go on with our lives. Let's have fireworks. Let's light up all the state buildings in blue and gold. Let's just have a celebration over, how great everything is going to be. I mean, I guess you could say he was focusing on the positive, right? Mm-hmm. But I found it kind of jarring that there was absolutely no mention of the over 40,000 people who died from the virus, including over 15,000 people in nursing homes, which the governor's in a little trouble with for possibly fudging the numbers of the people that died. I thought, maybe a moment of silence or
so
some
do you
kind
think
of
fireworks were
commemoration.
inappropriate considering the circumstances that this is a massive plague that killed a ton of people? I did see some things on social media from people from the left and the right saying this is a bit of irony. This should be more of a memorial as opposed to a celebration.
Well, not exactly inappropriate. When you look back to Joe Biden's inauguration, they had a mix of both. They definitely honored the people who had died and their families, but I think they also did have fireworks at the end. But it just seemed like we were only focusing on one thing, and there's a lot of people, and I'm sure you know them and I know them, who've lost, relatives or friends, and it's very sad for them right now. They're not super happy just because COVID's over, and I felt like an acknowledgement of that. That would have been appropriate, and I'm surprised that has not come.
What do you think the motive was? Because the governor has been a follow the science guy and has erred on the side of caution generally. Why do you think he made the decision? A lot of people are speculating, hey, it's a distraction, red herring, there's an impeachment investigation going on, so
right. And that's
why
the
do you
least
think?
of it.
Yeah.
The Attorney General is investigating him over sexual harassment charges. The feds are investigating him over the nursing homes and also whether he might have used staff inappropriately to write a memoir for which he was paid $5.1 million. There's a lot of bad news swirling around, and it's getting closer to the time where those reports might come out. So it just seemed like he was kind of hasty. Why don't you just be done with this before, the 4th of July in the summer, and maybe just lay low for a while now and not have to be out there? Because when there have been questions from reporters, and I would mention this event didn't have any questions. No, it was definitely a campaign rally. He's sometimes,
his I have a dream speech,
Yeah, he sometimes said things that weren't completely, the best answer, the best on-message answer for, when he's asked about the scandal. So I think it seems like he really wants to start a new chapter.
So bad news this week, potentially for the governor, was about Joseph Percoco's bills being paid potentially by people who are connected to the governor. What's going on there?
Yeah, his sister, Madeleine Cuomo, is soliciting funds from a lot of longtime associates of Mario Cuomo and the Cuomo family that people who watch the show or covered or followed politics for a long time might know, like Mayor Sandy Fruscher, Michael Dowling, who's now the head of Northwell Health. They used to be top aides to the governor, Steve Cohen, another Cuomo associate. The governor's sister is saying, hey, can you give some money? Joe needs some money for his appeals. We want to start a fund for his children. But she says, according to this report in the New York Times, that Andrew Cuomo didn't know anything about it. It was a big secret from him. Apparently they're doing some kind of favor for his friend, but they didn't tell him about it. And I guess there's no way you can prove otherwise.
Plausible deniability?
Yeah, and another question is, are they paying Joe Percoco, giving him this money while he's in jail because they like him so much and he was a family friend? Or is it to keep him quiet? Because he said that he did all kinds of bad things, embezzlement, kickbacks, but once again, the governor didn't know anything about it. He didn't implicate Andrew Cuomo in any way. So is this money out of the goodness of their hearts, or are they trying? Or do they want him to continue to keep quiet?
And the last thing,
and that's something we'll probably never know the answer to.
Last thing here, we're sort of running out of time, I assume, is there is another question of ethics or a conflict of interest, and that is two members of the Assembly Judiciary Committee reportedly were at a dinner at the Executive Mansion recently while the governor is being investigated. Is that a conflict of interest?
Well, I think the governor's trying to improve his relationship with the legislature, which is at a low point, and he'd been kind of secretly having different delegations, the Buffalo delegation, I think the Rochester delegation, to dinner at the mansion, which is always kind of, impresses lawmakers, frankly impresses anybody who goes there. It's kind of like the governor's hosting you at the Executive Mansion. But yes, if they're on the Judiciary Committee and they're supposedly doing an impeachment inquiry, it doesn't seem like they should have been there.
Okay, so moving forward, are you expecting some sort of punishment for those two, or what should we expect?
Daryl, this is Albany. I don't think that's happening, sorry.
Am I a little bit too naive and optimistic just getting into this political sphere?
I mean, it just seems like the impeachment inquiry is probably going to go on for quite a while, and who knows if it's even going to have a conclusion, right?
Well, we can talk about this all day, but that is the conclusion of Roundtable. I appreciate you being here, Karen.
Thank you.